Hello everyone and welcome to IKC English, today in a slightly different version over the internet. And this is because we don't want to contribute to spreading the coronavirus, so thank you for staying at home and taking care of everyone. Today we're going to talk about illness and pain. Quite fitting, you could say. So, let's get to it. First off, we have some terms here. A term is a word that describes something. So a term inside of health, a term in health could be illness or sickness or disease. Yes. So here it says illness, sickness, and disease. Repeat with me. Illness, sickness, and disease. Okay. So illness is a noun and the adjective is ill. If you are ill, you are feeling unwell. So it doesn't have to be your health. You can actually just feel unwell. It can also be more serious illness. Yes, an illness is when it's something in your health that makes you feel bad. It can also be sick. If you're sick, it can be two things. It can be because you experience nausea or because you vomit. Now, nausea is when you can feel in your stomach that you have to vomit. And vomit, we'll get to that, that's when you throw up. And this can also be if you feel nausea or if you vomit because of something you're doing. For example, if you are seasick, or car sick, or air sick. It can also be horse sick. So this is if you are somewhere that's rocking and unstable, and then you get nauseous from it. It can also be a less serious illness. So if you are just having a cold, then people can say you are sick. But they can also say you are ill. So ill can be used for all illnesses. Then we have disease. A disease is an illness that has to do with health and not accident. So remember, an illness is just feeling unwell. So this can also be that you feel ill because you're very tired or something else. Or because you broke your leg. But breaking your leg is not an illness. Breaking your leg is not a disease. Because disease is when your immune system is fighting something, right? So then we have ill, sick, and disease. Try saying these words with me. Ill, sick, disease. Great. Let's have some examples. Granny said she was feeling ill and could not leave bed. Try saying that. Granny said she was feeling ill and could not leave bed. But Sarah knew she was just lazy. But Sarah knew she was just lazy. Okay, let's try saying all of it. Granny said she was feeling ill and could not leave bed. But Sarah knew she was just lazy. Okay, so that is ill. She was feeling ill. The next example. When the ship rocks back and forth, Simon gets seasick. When the ship rocks back and forth, Simon gets seasick. Remember, when I repeat these things, you should try saying them with me, so you practice how to say them. The coronavirus is a very contagious disease. The coronavirus is a very contagious disease. Right, So contagious, what does that mean? Contagious is when something can get transferred from one person to another. So, for example, the flu is contagious because if you sneeze and someone is very close, then they might get the flu also. But a broken leg is not contagious because you don't get a broken leg from being around people with broken legs, right? So the coronavirus is contagious because if someone who has it is around people who don't, then those people might get it. That is contagious. Alright. Then I said we would talk about vomit. So to vomit can be both a verb and a noun. The verb to vomit is to empty the contents of the stomach through the mouth, like the smiley in the corner. You could also say throw up, or be sick, or barf. Barf is a very low context word, so very informal. It's also a noun, just vomit, and that is what you have thrown up. Yes, it makes sense. Right, let's talk about some other words that you might use for describing symptoms, ways you are feeling bad. A symptoms vocabulary. Remember, vocabulary is a collection of words that you know. So this will be a collection of words that you will know about symptoms. And symptoms is a symptom is something that shows you are feeling bad. Usually a symptom is a symptom of a disease. So a symptom of a cold is that you are sneezing. Yes. So when you do something, or your body does something, that shows you have a disease. That is a symptom. Okay, let's try saying these two words. Symptoms vocabulary. Come. Symptoms vocabulary. Great. So, first we have these four words. Pain, ache, sore, and hurts. Pain, ache, sore, and hurt. Okay, so pain in the orange box. That is a noun, which means it's a thing or a thing you cannot touch. And that means a physical or mental suffering. A suffering, what is a suffering? A suffering is something that feels very bad. Something that takes your attention because it feels so bad. So it's when something hurts and you go, ouch, ah, right, that is a pain. Then we have an ache. That is a noun. It is a continuous pain. Continuous. That means something that just keeps going. So it's not just a little pain for a second, but it keeps being there for a longer time. It doesn't have to be permanent, but that it's something that follows you through an hour or less, but it's not something that's just sudden. Then there's a verb, to ache, that is to hurt continuously. So my back aches means my back is hurting, and it doesn't just hurt because you hit it, but it keeps aching for some time. Then we have sore. Sore can be two things. It can be a wound. So if your skin is broken somewhere, that can be a sore. But the one I have here is an adjective, and that means painful and uncomfortable, and it hurts when it's touched. So if your legs are sore, then there might not be a problem, but they're painful and uncomfortable, and when you touch them, it hurts. So you go, ooh, that kind of thing. Then we have hurt. That can be different things. First we have a verb, means to cause pain, cause harm or pain. So you can hurt someone else. This is used with an object. Then we have another verb, which is just to have pain. Yes, so I hurt, you could say, that's just very general. You could say my leg hurts. So then there's pain in my leg. Then there is an adjective. If someone is hurt, they are harmed. And they have wounds or something, someone else have hurt them. Right? Okay, let's have some examples. I went for a run yesterday. Okay, let's try repeating. I went for a run yesterday, and now I have this pain in my back. And now I have this pain in my back. When I don't get enough sleep, my head aches. When I don't get enough sleep, my head aches. Right, so you get pain in your head. If I forget to stretch after doing sports, my muscles get sore. If I forget to stretch after doing sports, my muscles get sore. Ouch, my knee hurts. Ouch, my knee hurts. Okay, so ouch is just something you say when something hurts suddenly. Ouch, right? So we have this word in many languages, but it sounds a little different. In English, it's just ouch. Right. Great, let's move on. Here we have different kinds of aches. We have a backache. Backache, that is when your back hurts, naturally. So if you go around, maybe you've done something with your back, haven't slept right, and then you go around wanting to stretch, and like, ooh, it hurts. That is a backache. Then we have a toothache. Again, toothache. And that is a pain in one of your teeth or around one of your teeth. If you have pain in more of your teeth, it is still a toothache. You don't say it in plural, just say toothache. One more is stomach ache. Again, stomach ache. And that is when your stomach keeps hurting. So you can feel it down there. And it's uncomfortable. That is stomach ache. And last one, a headache. Again, headache. You see, this one is pronounced a little differently because it's used so much people forget it's headache. It's too hard to say, just say headache. Headache. And that is when your head hurts continuously. Our next word is fever. Try saying that. Fever. This could also, you can also say temperature. Temperature. So temperature just means hot or cold or something, but you can also use it about a fever. And a fever is when you have a higher body temperature than normally because you are ill, right? So if you measure the temperature of your body and it's higher than usually, it might be because you have the flu or something. So it is a symptom. Alright, so an example. Let's read this. I'll read it 2 times and you can read it with me the second time. I'm feeling a little bad. Maybe I have a fever. I am feeling a little bad. Maybe I have a fever. If you have a temperature, you should stay at home. If you have a temperature, you should stay at home. Okay, so you could say to have a fever. Having a fever means this higher body temperature than what is normal for a healthy body. If you say I have a temperature, you just mean I have a fever. Because everyone has a body temperature, we all know that, because our body has a temperature. But if you say someone has a temperature, what you really mean is a fever. So it's another way of using it. Another word is dizziness. Dizziness. This means when the whole room is spinning and you're a little off balance. So if you stand up too quickly and then suddenly you go like, woo, wow, everything's spinning, then you're dizzy. That is dizziness. So the noun is dizziness and the adjective is dizzy. So an example. Whoa, I stood up too fast. I'm dizzy. Whoa, I stood up too fast. I'm dizzy. Okay, so this is another symptom. You can say if you're a little off balance, you don't feel normal because everything is sort of spinning and you're dizzy. Now I have two words that are close to each other. We have tingling and itching. Tingling and itching. Yeah? So tingling is to have a feeling as if a lot of sharp points are being put quickly and lightly into your body. Okay? A lot of sharp points. So that's the top picture here with all the ants. So if your foot is asleep, you have this tingling sensation, right? It's like a lot of little needles or something like that are put quickly and lightly into your body. So it's on your skin. Itching is an uncomfortable feeling on your skin that makes you want to scratch it. So the itching can be from a mosquito bite, and it hurts a little and you just really want to rub it with your nails. And a tingling can be if your foot is asleep. Sometimes a tingling sensation can be itching as well. If you want to scratch it, it's itching. If it feels like little needles or something, then it's tingling. And that's the difference. Two other words. We have shiver and chills. Shiver and chills. So shiver can be to shake a little because of cold or illness or fear. So if you're feeling bad, or if you're afraid, if you're just cold, then you shake a little bit. Ooh, right? That is a shiver. Can both be a verb, to shiver, and can be a noun, a shiver. Chills. We say to get chills. That's when you feel a little cold. Go through because of cold, because of fear or something else. So it can give you goosebumps, right? Goosebumps, that's when the hairs on your skin stand up straight and you get little bumps on your skin. Those are called goosebumps. So that is shiver and chills. So an example. Hearing that song for the first time gave me chills. Hearing that song for the first time gave me chills. So this can be that you hear something that moves you so much, it gives you chills. Alright, now another subject about health. Talking about health. So maybe you want to ask how someone is feeling health-wise, or you want to answer a question about that. Something like that. We're going to talk about that. So, asking about health. These are some questions you can use to ask another person how their health is. You could just say, how are you? How are you? But this can also be about how are you in terms of feeling, or in terms of how's your life going, right? So it doesn't have to be about health. How are you is a very broad question. So that's just general, an update on you as a person, which is good as well. Another one is, are you okay? Are you okay? Okay, so this one sort of assumes that this person is not okay. So if someone looks a little like they're feeling bad, you could say, are you okay? And this just means, I don't think you look like you feel good. Is this correct? And you say, are you okay? Could also say, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling okay? Yes, so this one is like, are you okay? It's exactly the same answer you'll get. Are you feeling okay? It's just, are you sure that you are fine? Could also say, what's the matter? What's the matter? So this one doesn't ask, is there a problem, like the other ones do. This one says, what is the problem? What's the matter? Yeah? For example, why are you crying? What's the matter? Why do you look so troubled? What's the matter? So this one is just, please tell me your problem. The next one, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? This one is more broad than are you feeling okay? Because if you say, are you okay? Or are you feeling okay? You assume people are not okay. But it's also a very easy thing to ask, because these are yes or no questions. So if you really want to know how people are doing, it's a good idea to ask, how are you? Or how are you feeling? Because these are broader and people cannot just say yes or no. Okay? So if you want to give a reason why you are asking these things, you could say, oh, you look unwell, or you look pale. You look unwell. That doesn't mean you're ugly. That just means you look like you are not feeling good. You look pale means you don't have as much color in your face as usually. That's something that can happen if people are very scared or not feeling very good, then they get pale. Pale. So, you look unwell. You look unwell. And you look pale. You look pale. So you can put these together and say, you look unwell. Are you okay? Or you could say, you look pale. What's the matter? Or one of the others. So you look pale. How are you feeling? Right? So you can say something that makes you ask the question and then ask the question. Great. Then if you get one of these questions, you can answer. These are some of the answers I have thought of. So this is answering about your health. So if someone says, you look pale, are you okay? You could say, I'm fine. And that just means, yeah, no problem, no need to ask. And then good idea is to say thanks. So, I'm fine, thanks. Or, I'm okay, thanks. So, okay just means, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's neutral. And fine is better than neutral, but sometimes people use it as neutral, but just to get out of the conversation. So, if you are feeling good or feeling okay, you can just say, I'm okay, thanks. Right, let's try saying these. I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine, thanks. I'm okay, thanks. I'm okay, thanks. Okay. And another way of saying it is I feel, and then one of these words. I feel okay. I feel okay. And then I forgot to write it, but if you say thanks or thank you, that's very polite. It's a normal thing to do because you say thank you for caring about me. So, I feel okay, thanks. I feel fine, thanks. I feel good, thanks. I feel great, thanks. Yeah? So okay is neutral, fine is a little better, good is good, it's a positive, and great is just awesome, right? Amazing. Could also say I feel awesome, thanks. But that is like I am just so cool. Or you could say I feel amazing. And then people go, oh wow, that's great. So that's when it's very positive. If you don't feel very good, you can say one of the other things, yeah. I feel bad. I feel bad. But this one, I feel, and then a bad word, a negative word, that could also be about your conscience. So if you say, I feel bad, then it sounds very much like you regret something you've done. You did something that made other people suffer, and now you feel bad. And it's the same with I feel awful. I feel awful. And I feel terrible. I feel terrible. Okay? So these can be about how you actually feel physically or mentally, but they'll usually be about your feelings because you did something. So normally that's because you have a bad conscience. You could also say, I don't feel so good. I don't feel so good. And this one just means I feel bad. But it's not about conscience. So if you say, I don't feel so good, it means maybe you have nausea or something. So that means physically you feel bad. You can also say it in a completely different way. You can say, I've seen better days. I've seen better days. So this means, well, I'm not on my top. So it's another way of saying, I don't feel so good. And this is like an undramatic way I say it. Alright, so if you want to say more about how you feel, you can use some of the words we've already talked about. For example, I have a headache. I have a headache. I have a stomach ache. I have a stomach ache. I have a backache. I have a backache. Or something else, right? You can also say, I feel sick. I feel sick. But this can mean both that you feel a little ill and that you feel like you have to vomit. You can also just say, I feel like I have to vomit. And then people will know exactly what you're talking about. You could say, my muscles ache, my muscles ache, or my muscles hurt, my muscles hurt. My knee hurts, my knee hurts. Or I'm dizzy, I'm dizzy. So you can describe your symptoms, or you can just in general say, I don't feel so good, or I've seen better days, or something like that. It's a very good idea when people ask how you're doing to answer honestly, so we can help each other. Great. Some other things you can say about health. If you can say, you look well. You look well. This is a very positive thing. If you're visiting someone who's been ill, who's been in the hospital maybe even, and you think they look better, they look like they've improved, you can say, you look well. You look well. If you say, you look good, that means they are pretty, and that's okay to say as well. But if you want to talk about their health, you say, you look well, right? It's the same if you think someone looks like they don't feel good, then you say, you look unwell. But you don't say, you look bad. If you say, you look bad, it means that they look a little ugly. But that's not what you mean. You just mean maybe they need help or they're not feeling good. So then you say, you look unwell or you look well. Yes. And when people say, I don't feel so good, or my leg hurts, or I'm sad, or something, you can say, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, I'm glad to hear that, if it's something good. Right? But if it's something that needs a reaction, they need help, then don't just say, I'm sorry to hear that, but help them instead. And if you think they might need help, you could say, do you need something? Do you need something? Meaning, can I help you? Is that something I can get you? Something I can do for you? Yes. Have you seen a doctor? Have you seen a doctor? And this doesn't just mean, have you seen a doctor walking down the street? This means, have you been to a doctor and talked to them about this thing that you are experiencing? And if you think they should do it, but they haven't, you could say, you should see a doctor. You should see a doctor. Or I think you should see a doctor. That's okay to say to people. Some people need a little push. Yes. And that was almost all I had to say about vocabulary and health. Now we have some reflecting. So today I want to tell you that God comforts us. So we might experience suffering and terrible things in our lives. They can make us question our entire lives and question God. Why, God? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening at all? Why couldn't this be avoided? Why aren't you doing something? You can do anything. And it's okay to give God these questions. He doesn't suffer from low self-esteem. He can handle us questioning him and questioning everything. But we need to remember that not every question will be answered in this life. And not all suffering has a meaning. We can't always explain why bad things happen, because sometimes they happen with no meaning. It's just meaningless. And that might sound very dark and discomforting. But I think it's very good to know that we don't have to look for a meaning all the time. We don't have to think, oh, I'm suffering for someone else. It's okay to feel like it's all meaningless, because sometimes it is. We live in a world that's not perfect, and we're very much allowed to remember that. And it's okay to agonize over it, to complain to God, say, what's happening? Please stop it. But we need to remember that God is always there. Because if the only thing we say to God is, why God, why aren't you doing something? Then we forget who God really is. We forget that He gives us free will and He does things that we cannot understand. And He doesn't always explain Himself because He doesn't have to. He's God. But even though He doesn't always give an explanation, and even though we can't always see a good thing coming from what happens, then He always gives comfort. He will never leave you. God will always be there for you. Whenever you raise your voice at Him and say, why God? Or whenever you say thank you for a little thing, whatever you say to Him, He will always listen. He will always be there, even when we can't hear Him, when we can't see Him. He's there. So we have to remember, even when we have our troubles believing it, that God will never leave us. He will always love us. He will always be there for you. He will always love you. So, remember to cling on to that when bad things happen to you. It's a very good rock. Great, that was all for today. A little bit of IKC information. First thing, IKC will be closed for the rest of March because of the coronavirus. And remember to follow the health authorities' regulations on the coronavirus. You can go on the internet and see the regulations, but I also put them here. So remember to wash your hands frequently or use an alcohol-based hand rub. And when you cough or sneeze, do it into your sleeve or into a disposable towel, even better. Limit physical contact, okay people? So no cheek kissing and no giving hands. The Thai people you can greet with your little bow, that's okay. Otherwise you can shake feet instead of shaking hands. Be diligent with keep cleaning. That just means keep on cleaning and doing it properly. Remember good hygiene. It's very important when we have these diseases. Then it says if you are older or have a chronic illness, avoid crowds of people and advise others to be aware of your condition. Okay? So if you have a bad immune system, if you are old or have a chronic illness, you're sick, then stay away from crowds and ask people to stay a little away from you because you are one of the people we are trying to protect. Because all of this is not just so all of us healthy people won't get the disease, it's because we don't want all of the other people, all of the people who won't be able to resist this disease as well as we do. We want them to be safe. So we are all standing together to protect those with a weaker immune system. So if you have a weak immune system, take care of yourself. We are all trying to take care of you. Great. So, as always, you can follow on IKC's Facebook page. We will write all the updates about IKC. And it's called International Kristent Center, IKC. Okay, so I put it right there. You can find the PowerPoints at tiny.cc/IKCENG for IKC English. These are the English PowerPoints. And I will put a link to a Quizlet in the description. A Quizlet is a thing where you can practice the words you've used. So all the words you've learned in this PowerPoint, I will put in the Quizlet and you can practice them at home. So remember to stay indoors, have a good time, learn some English, remember you are loved, and God will always be there for you, and other people love you as well. Have a very nice day.